Welcome. I'd like to introduce you to our new set of maps for 2013. Those of you who know Amici Tours know that for many years now we've been writing tour books and very popular smartphone apps about Napa and Sonoma. And in the course of that, we have created hundreds and hundreds of maps. And one of the things we set out to do is create very readable maps. And you have to realize that we're tour guides. So we adore maps. In fact, one of our most popular books is called Napa and Sonoma, A Love Affair in Maps, because tour guides spend a lot of time looking at maps. So we make them very easy to read, which means black ink on a white background and the largest font that we can fit in and still have it make sense. Because, most of the people who are reading this are a little bit older and they wear glasses, and besides, they're driving down the road. They're trying to read this while they're driving. They might have had a glass of wine already. So, let's make it easy for them, right? We've put a group of maps in. They're broken into 3 sets. The first set, which is just about 4 maps, are the overviews. They cover both counties. They look at how Napa and Sonoma fit into the Bay Area. There's one that talks about how long it takes to get from San Francisco to the various different regions around wine country, because it does matter. These are 2 big agricultural counties. And this will help people, plan their overall trip. And then we have a set of maps for Napa and another set of maps for Sonoma. There's really southern Sonoma and northern Sonoma. It's a very big county after all. We would like you to use these. We'd like you to share them with your guests. We'd like you to use them for navigating the area. The only thing we have on there, which is about us, is we have a contact block about our company, about our AmiciTours.com website, about our apps, about our books, and about the fact that we do tours. People can go to our website. We ask that you leave it on there. That's the only requirement we have for you using the maps. Feel free to put your own company stamp on there as well, so they know where they got the map. You see, people will hold on to maps after a trip. It's part of their remembrance. And so if you put your hotel stamp on there, later on when they go through their papers, they'll remember, your place a little more kindly because you gave them this great map to navigate the area. Now, we include about 500 wineries between all the different maps. And that's a lot of wineries. But as you know, there's a lot more than that. What we don't include are the very tiny private wineries that you can get into if you have the secret handshake or a friend at the place. We don't include them because 98% of the people who visit are going to go to the wineries that we've put on these maps. The huge amount are going to go to that group. That's why they're on the map. There's way too many of the little wineries. Now, if there isn't a winery that you feel is very popular that's not on the map, please contact us. Email us and mention the winery to us. And we'll seriously consider putting it on to the next edition. We suggest that if you have a winery like that you use a lot, that take the map, print it out, write it in, put the contact information on the map, on our map, and then photocopy that for your clients. And the reason is, once again, our maps are very, very readable. And 2, they give the landmarks. They'll tell you what other wineries are nearby. That's actually the problem with a GPS map. A GPS map might or might not get you to the winery. Up here GPS is, so-so. That's why we have so many maps. But it won't tell you that, when you're at Silver Oak, Plumpjack is right across the street. Plumpjack might be your favorite label in the world, and you had no idea it was across the street. And it's only later on when you get home that you realize it. That's why we do the maps. You want to know your context. You could do a great tour by just staying in Oakville and Rutherford. There's so many wineries there. Or just staying in Oak Knoll and Stag's Leap. There's so many wineries. It's not the ideal tour. In truth, you should have about 15 minutes between wineries so you have a chance to metabolize some of that wine and drink a bottle of water. But it's nice to know what's nearby. That's the secret of a good map. Remember, these were designed by tour guides. We have a lot of chance to test them. So we hope you enjoy them. We hope you find them very, very helpful. And we are very open to your suggestions. Remember, too, that we do tours. We're a small company. We drive the tours ourselves. And especially remember, for your international guests, We are multilingual. We work in English, obviously, for better or worse sometimes, Spanish, Italian, French, German, and Brazilian Portuguese. We speak some of these better than others, but we get by in all of them pretty well. And after all, a tour guide doesn't need to know that much. We're not going to be reciting poetry. We're going to be showing them this beautiful region that we get to live in. When you have your international guests, come, please call us, because realize that most tour companies, the drivers do not want the international guests. Why? First of all, international guests oftentimes do not tip. It's not part of their culture. They figure what they're paying is what they're paying. Two, they do not buy wine. So for the typical limo driver or tour driver who a major portion of their money comes from their tips, an international guest is, kind of a bit of a wash for them. Also, if they're not going to tip, at least they can do is, endear themselves to a winery by having them buy a lot of wine, which they're probably not going to do that. Sometimes they do if they arrive in their own private jet from Canada, or they can afford it, but most of them do not. For us, we like the international guests. It gives us a chance to use our languages. We find it very interesting, and it's very important to us that international guests arriving here have the same wonderful experience that the native English speakers get to have. And if they don't have a guide that understands their language and their culture, they will not. And you want them to, because you want them to come back to your hotel, and we want them to come back to our tour service. So keep us in mind for that. We hope you enjoy the maps. We are completely open to suggestions about them. Like I said, we produce hundreds of them, and we really do respond and appreciate input. So this is Ralph from Amici Tours, wishing you good travels, and we'll see you up in the valleys.